What do you got?
I think I can prove to a judge that both of these men had the mens rea.
What the hell is a mens rea?
It's a legal term the lawyers use. It just means the intention to commit a crime.
Okay, come on, let's go.
Mens rea?
Put the cuffs on him.
How could we have gotten mens rea? We take blood? Can you do it without taking blood? We both use condoms. How is this possible? I want to see a doctor. Can I have an independent blood test?
Money!
I feel sick.
What are you doing?
Mens rea! Oh! Oh! My God!
Who could it possibly be? Was it, oh, I don't know. Satan?
Hey, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, good night, everybody. How are you doing? Hey, everybody, I am glad you are here. This is the test of faith. Today is the test of loyalty. Today is the test of your willingness and your commitment to me. Everybody else on earth is watching the Karen Read trial. I'm not, because as the rules always go in this particular trial, I can't cover the live stream of the full day trials because I have to work a lot. Plus, I won't be able to finish the trial because I'll most likely be on vacation when it ends. I will be starting my vacation a week from this Saturday. Just a little bit of a heads up. I'll do as much as I can as far as streaming goes while I'm on vacation, but we can talk about that later. Today, we're talking about the Donald Hartung trial. We have 69 people here. Oh, that's an awesome number. 40 likes. So this is, I say, everybody else is watching the Karen Read trial. So if you're watching part 6 of the Donald Hartung witchcraft ritual murder trial, you're a true dyed-in-the-wool Vice-Rax fan. You are definitely a Vice-Rax here. All of you Vice-Raxes are here now. 71 of you. 71 of you could be watching the Karen Read trial, but you're here. Vice Squad is the best squad. And those of you that are watching on replay, hey, you watch it on replay, so you're kind of cool too. All right. Let's see what we got to cover here. Yes, Joe Choi, you are the real ones. These are the real ones. I wonder if we'll hit 100 today. I wonder if we'll hit 100 concurrent viewers. That would be fun. All right, everybody. See, you can always go back and watch Karen Read at 1.5 speed. Come on. We are here. Let's see if we get up to 100. That would be surprising, but I promised that we would do a Donald Hartung thing. We usually do this on Thursdays, but instead of a throwback Thursday, we're making this a Witchcraft Wednesday because I will be covering Karen Read tomorrow. Ike, who's been a member for 11 months. Ike, this fallen angel is loyal. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for being 11 months in the fallen angels category of membership. All right. So for those of you that have not been following this trial, this is Donald Hartung. He is from Florida. He is an older feller. He's been accused of killing his 2 half-brothers, one of whom worked at Walmart and the other who was an IT specialist for Homeland Security, and his mother. There hasn't really been a lot of evidence of murder. They were obviously murdered, but there hasn't been a lot of evidence that he did it. But direct evidence, the circumstantial evidence is starting to pile up. The way he behaves, the last time anybody saw them alive, et cetera, et cetera. But we were completely witchcraft free until last one we watched a couple of weeks ago. Then it was all the witchcraft all the time. His house is his 2 half-brothers and his mother are sort of kind of hoarders. Their house is just this dump. I mean, it's like a hoarder house, but he is like OCD levels of organized. Everything is perfectly lined up in the floors. Everything is perfectly lined up on his desks, his tables. Everything is in its place. And there's an entire section of his house that's Ouija boards, demonic statues, candles, pentagrams, wands, witchcraft for dummies, those kind of. I mean, there was like books on witchcraft and spells. There's tarot cards everywhere. If you were to go to some sort of Hollywood casting center, okay, give me the most stereotypical witchcraft house imaginable. They would make his house. I mean, it was witchcrafty. it was witchcrafty. And well, we had 2 Homeland Security people testifying last time. We just saw both him and her from, like the chest, because they're Homeland Security. Their faces were not shown. But today I have no idea what we're going to see, so we may as well jump into it. Yeah, Gigi says it sounds funny, but might not be. It was pretty witchcrafty. I mean, it was witchcrafty. But we'll see if we get some more witchcraftiness today. All right, folks, you know the drill. 82 of you, 53 likes. Hit the like, hit the subscribe. And if you've happened to stumble upon this at some point in the future, hit that like and subscribe button as well. And for those of you, only for you live people, we have our like and subscribe poll. What do you want? More witchcraft, less witchcraft, rituals, and the Karen Reed trial. So far, in the lead with 52% is more witchcraft. Let's see if we get there today. I don't know who the witnesses are today, but let's see. Who is the first scheduled witness? Department of Homeland Security Federal Protective Service agents Ken Palomino and George Jacoby are going to take the stand. All right. Well, then let's buckle up and jump on into this, shall we? Let's go. Here we go. This is the Donald Hartung murder trial, and we don't know how this turned out, so nobody spoiled. I still hasn't been spoiled for me, and we're nearing the halfway point of this trial, so it's a short trial. Where'd it go? Oh, here it is. Couldn't find it. Dumb guy couldn't find the button. Okay, this is a really creepy way to start out. I've never seen him smile. I've never seen the Hartung smile before, and it looks kind of evil. I'll admit that. It's kind of an evil little smile. Let's push play, and then we'll set up the banner to scroll across the bottom, and let's go for it, shall we, peoples? I think we should. How about first I turn the volume on?
Evan Palomino.
And Mr. Palomino, where are you employed?
I'm with the Department of Homeland Security, Federal
It'd be
Protection
funny if
Service.
Mr. Palomino looked like a
Can we
horse.
call that FPS for short?
FPS, correct.
All right. And what does FPS do?
We protect federal employees,
Oh, another
customers
chest
for the
picture.
federal government, facilities, and government assets.
And do you basically provide law enforcement type services for the federal government?
Correct. We provide security and force protection through contract guards to include uniform police services and investigative.
How long have you been doing that?
I've been a federal law enforcement since this July will be 16 years
And in which state do you live?
in Texas.
Okay. Is that where you lived back in July of 2015?
Correct.
Now, were you assigned to investigate the death of a DHS employee named Richard Smith?
Yes.
And is that you?
It's a bomb! Oh,
Was there any?
she's like, oh my God, was that my virus? I forgot to mention. I can't remember because I do my monster themed pipes for this. I can't remember if I did this one or not. This is my alien xenomorph pipe here. This is one of my custom pipes here too. Oh, let's embiggen it, shall we? We'll briefly. Here we go. This is my alien xenomorph pipe. I don't know if we've shown this one before, but we don't need me. There we go. Yeah, and it's got a little alien there on the bottom, a little curled up like the alien embryo carved in. But yeah, that's my alien xenomorph pipe. And the tamper to tamp down the tobacco is the alien. It's an alien tail. So I think that's kind of cool. There we go. Yeah, it's like an alien tail for the tamper, little brass end on it. So that's what we'll be smoking today. We'll be smoking from my alien xenomorph pipe. All right. Jakey Book wants to know, is he a real witch or is he the kind of guy who watched Charmed naked and covered head to toe in grease? I don't know. We'll find out, but he sort of kind of seems to be the real deal. So we'll see. And let's get back to the trial, shall we?
Any special reason you were sent from Texas?
To see if there was any nexus with the crime to the federal government.
But any reason
Dun,
you
dun,
came
dun.
from Texas to Florida?
I believe I was the only one available within the Federal Protective Service at the time.
I'm the one that had to go. Like,
So no hidden meaning.
No.
I couldn't pass it off onto anyone
Now, is
else.
it standard operating procedure for FPS to investigate deaths of federal employees?
Yes.
And was Richard Smith's job of any special concern?
No.
Is the death of any federal employee going to be investigated?
It will be.
Now, if the bodies were discovered on Friday, July 31st, 2015, when did you arrive in Pensacola?
The next morning.
And when you got to Pensacola, where did you go first?
Went to the crime scene.
And how did you know where to go?
I had spoken to investigator Matt Infinger with the Sheriff's Department the night before when I got notified through management to report to Pensacola.
Ah, yes, good old
And when you went to the
Infinger.
crime scene on August 1st, was Matt Infinger there when you got there?
He was.
Oh, and by the way, Matt Infinger may make an appearance later today. We may finally get our first look at Infinger. Who was the other? Oh, yeah, and again, for those of you that have, we have 136 people here. I'm very, very surprised we have that for this trial. This is a 2015 trial of murder. For those of you that don't know, it's our Witchcraft Wednesday throwback. Two of the investigating people were Mr. Infinger and Mr. Coxwell. And of course, as we've made jokes about, there was quite a bit of testimony about them entering the house. So it was lots of testimony about Coxwell and Infinger entering through the back door that we found mildly amusing and childishly laughable. But we may get our first glance at Infinger today.
And then departed to the medical examiner's office.
Now, what did you do at the scene?
I got briefed by the sheriff's on scene, and I told him what my interest was of looking for any nexus to federal government property or anything left behind for the federal government.
Okay.
Yep,
So
those are their
basically,
names,
any kind of-
Infinger and Coxwell.
Computers, phones, any kind of technology that was assigned to Richard Smith by the federal government?
Yes, initially just anything that would pop out, say, federal government.
And to your knowledge, was any government property found?
Wait, was that black
in
lady
Richard's
there
house?
like 5 minutes ago, or
It
like
was.
2 minutes ago? I don't think I saw her.
Now, did you actually go inside the house?
I did.
Okay. And how long were you there at the scene
Wipe
on
off my
August
glasses.
1st?
Oh, I couldn't give you an exact time, but enough time for me to be briefed by the sheriff's office and do a brief walk through the crime scene of how everything was kind of laid out.
And then where did you go from the scene?
I went to Richard Smith's place of employment, and I spoke to his supervisor, Hall McCord.
All right. And while you were there, did you search Richard Smith's, I guess, workspace or work area?
I did.
Okay.
She's a
Anything that
black
raised any
magic
red flags?
woman.
Nothing.
Now, was anything about Richard's job in and of itself inherently
She's
dangerous?
got
It
a
was not.
strange magic.
What types
strange
of
magic.
government property were seized from Richard's home, car, or office?
You were talking about access cards to his workplace.
And is that the thing that he wore around his neck?
Yes, an ID card,
Okay.
computers, laptops, and cell phone.
And what about this? There's David Flatt testified earlier about an RSA token.
RSA token, remote security access. It's just how you log into a computer.
Okay, nothing special about that.
No.
Okay. Were some of the electronics Richard Smith's personal property?
We just call him
recovered?
Dick
Yes.
Smith.
There were evidence of his personal property recovered.
Okay. And did he have a computer in his office at DHS?
Yes.
Was any government equipment unaccounted for Richard Smith?
No, we accounted for all government property that was assigned to him from DHS.
All right. And then were the laptops,
Did he steal
cell
the Ark of the
phones,
Covenant?
The technology recovered, was it forensically analyzed?
It was.
And was that government property as well as personal property?
The sheriff's department asked us to do both, so we actually did both,
Okay.
personal and government.
And who actually analyzed the electronics?
Some went to the United States Secret Service in Jacksonville. Some went to Office of Chief Security in Washington, D.C. And some went to
Come on, Strawberry Con.
Homeland Security Investigation in D.C. area.
Okay, why all those different places?
Well, some had better equipment to analyze certain things that he had, so we could get much of the information that we possibly could pulled off those devices. We went to certain specialties that we had access to.
And was everything able to be analyzed or examined?
No.
Okay.
Uh-oh.
What was not?
What was
The
not?
Apple devices and one of his work computers.
And Apple devices, meaning like his personal.
Was like the Snow
iPhone?
White Apple device? Like here's
Maybe
the
some
apple, and you
iPads,
call
okay.
it. Yeah.
Okay. And in your
The
experience,
poison
is that
apple.
common or uncommon to not be able to access Apple iPhones?
It is very common.
This was before Apple rolled over. Back when you couldn't get into an Apple
Was there
phone.
anything of concern found on any of Richard's electronics, personal or work?
Nothing in concern or no evidence of the crime.
Yeah.
Now, if anyone tried to break into or hack Richard's like work computer, what happens?
It
It
explodes.
becomes useless. In the computer field, they call it a brick. Becomes a brick, a paperweight. Can't do nothing on it. Has different layers of security.
Now, see, this is the shit here. They were using the term brick. You brick your device all the way back here in this trial in 2020, and long before that, actually. But no, in the Karen Reed trial, we've got this officer with this investigator. This for 30 years he's been doing this investigative work, and he's never heard. He doesn't know what bricking a phone means. He has no idea. BS.
How long were you in Pensacola working on this investigation?
And speaking of a brick, it's Aussie Overlord.
Speaking of a brick,
That's all I had. It was either that or speaking of BS. I went with the lesser. Those are the last two things we talked about. I got nothing.
okay.
Welcome. How were you before I said that?
Perfectly fine. I
Okay.
figured, look, you know what? I got to review some material for tomorrow. I got 40 minutes. I figure I might as well stop by and see how much witchcraft shit actually hits the fan.
Yeah, well, we've got Sarah Palin here cross-examining some dude's midriff. So there we go. All righty, let's do this, shall we? I'm actually surprised we have 139 people here. All right, let's get on with it.
I believe I arrived August 1st, 2015, and departed August 18th, 2015.
Based on your investigation, did you have any reason to believe that Richard Smith's work at DHS caused his death?
I did not.
Someone's got early COVID over there.
Did you find any evidence that he was a target for anything related to his job?
None.
Excuse me. Now, does the building where Richard worked have video surveillance of the employees coming in and out?
It does.
And did you obtain a copy of the video surveillance from July 28th, 2015?
I did.
And did it show him coming to work, going to lunch, and then leaving that day?
It did.
GG is the opposite of a talking head, a listening ass.
Is my approach- No objection. Judge, so at this time I'd move states 361 into evidence. And permission to publish? Watch your eyes.
Oh, we got vids.
Ooh.
We'll ensmallen us here so we can see the whole thing.
Can you by chance read that time up there in the left corner?
7:59
a.m.
And again,
11 a.m.
Hello, welcome to Witchcraft is Us.
A-themes and Halloween treats in all three
And
on
again.
special.
12 a.m.
AM.
Yeah, I believe it says.
Oh my God, he's erased their
7:02
faces. Oh,
Okay, that's fine.
p.m. Sorry.
That's okay.
Yeah.
And the last time.
6:36 p.m.
Jesus, these guys work? Do they just wander around the hall all day? Oh, yeah, we have early COVID signs here. We've got the bottle of sanitizer on the counter there. Jesus, I thought that was him. I was like, oh crap, it happened.
No, there was some testimony that there were some
I was like,
D-Link
yes. Oh, that's
cameras
Ozzy.
found at the Smith home. Were those sent for analysis by DHS as well?
It was.
Okay, and what can you tell the jury about those cameras?
Well, the analysis determined that
Well, but Chris asks, "What are you drinking?" Well, it's close enough to Friday for my dry week to end because I had this bottle of wine that needs to be consumed. This is Conforto wine. It is 2014 vintage from Italy. Amazingly delicious stuff. It's the Vino Rosa. Highly recommended. About $25 a bottle in some places. Here it's about 50. But yeah, it's
That
quite,
import tax really sucks, doesn't it?
yep. It's Conforto Califrisio wine. Delicious. All right, with that out of the way, that's what we're consuming. But we are doing it, I must say, in my official Legal Vices Johnny Depp Mega Pint Pimp glass, or whatever I used to call this. The official Johnny Depp Mega Pint Legal Vices Pimp Cup. That's what it is. Took a while. Had to shake the dust of that one off. All right. Let's get back to it. Enough shenanigans. While you watch this guy in the back pick his nose.
the D-Link notifications weren't turned on, and it's just pretty much a live streaming. He would actually have to log in to using his username and password to actually see the live feed of the camera footage.
Okay. But it was live feed only.
Real time.
Those are my questions. Thank you, sir.
Members of the jury, we're going to take a very short break. So I'm going to ask you to retire to the jury room. We'll be back with you shortly.
Agent Palomino, you flew up here from Houston?
Dallas.
This guy's got
Dallas.
one suit. I'm starting to think that
And
watch
we're
is
here
a fake.
for basically 2 weeks.
About
Is that
The
correct?
color matches his tie. Of course, it's a fake.
And you went to
Agent Gunt, what do you have to say for yourself?
the crime scene. And when you were at the crime scene, you spoke with investigator Enfinger.
In
Is
fingers.
that correct?
introduced myself, but there was a sergeant there by the name of Coxwell.
Okay.
He's the one that did that initial briefing with me.
I told you I wasn't
talked to
making that
Sergeant
shit up.
Coxwell from the Escambia County Sheriff's Department.
Correct.
And then did you proceed to
He wanted the in
look
finger, but he got the
for
Coxwell instead.
electronic devices?
Not specifically electronic devices, because at that time, like I said, I did not have the list in front of me of exactly what was issued to him by DHS, but I looked for anything that stood out as a government property.
Can you imagine that? Mr. Fedman, thank you for expressing interest in this case, but I'm afraid the in finger is unavailable today, but we do have the Coxwell for you. Yeah.
By means of not searching, just essentially looking around.
Did you find anything?
Not really, not off the back.
Bat.
And then I believe you went and spoke
What do you
with
mean not
Mr.
off the
McCord
back?
at his,
Okay, that's a trigger thing for me when people like say dumb shit like that. Like off the back. No, it's off the bat. Or yeah. That just annoys me. And then when I mix metaphors and things, that's why I mix metaphors as a joke, because it annoys me.
office.
Correct.
And after talking to Mr. McCord, you went to Mr. Smith's office.
Correct.
And then
Did
you
Mr.
go
Smith
back
go to
the
Washington?
crime scene.
I went to the sheriff's office.
At the time, by the time you got to the sheriff's office, had any of the evidence been brought back to the sheriff's office yet by the crime scene technicians?
It had been.
And this was on August 1st, I believe.
Correct.
And did you go through that?
I matched up what they had already logged in with the list of the property list for the government.
And did you find some government items on that property list?
I did.
Chomping at the bit is the correct expression.
And did you at that time check those items out of the evidence room?
No.
Did you eventually check those items out of the evidence room?
Eventually, either myself or Agent George Jacoby did.
Okay. And when were they checked out of the evidence?
When they were being set up to be shipped off or taken to Secret Service or Homeland Security Investigations or Office of Chief Security.
If you tell us they take them to Secret Service, it's not a secret anymore, is it?
In addition to the federal government's issued electronic devices, when I take that's the telephone and the laptops, is that correct?
Correct.
There were also personal electronic devices,
Yes.
Apple devices. You took all of those devices and sent them to your people? Is that correct?
Correct. The sheriff's office asked us for assistance.
And none of the Apple devices were able to be opened. Is that my understanding?
Correct.
And did that consist of an iPad and an Apple cellular telephone?
Correct.
Now, there was also one government-issued laptop computer that was not opened. Am I correct?
Correct.
And can you explain to me what that laptop was? Was it just a Dell laptop?
Correct. It was just a Dell laptop.
And it was issued through, I guess, Department of Homeland Security?
It was.
And aren't there generally procedures to be able to open government-issued laptops in case somebody either gets killed, run over by a bus, commits suicide, or has a heart attack? Isn't there a procedure by which?
Thank you for demonetizing us there, sir, with all of the bad words.
I was gonna say
There is.
The only thing you didn't mention was the
Why
failed
was it
Austrian
that
painter.
procedure failed in this case?
The different type of
could have also
security walls that
mentioned
it
the
had up,
umbrellas, but
it just wasn't working with the system for them to gain access.
Well, when you set up security walls, and I don't know if you're a computer specialist or not, and whatever you do, but aren't you supposed to permit or have your supervisors or some other supervisory person be able to get into your laptop when, in case of an emergency?
You are, but with that computer and along with other ones, it was determined that there was a setup error initially when they gave those computers out, so it wasn't set up properly, and that was the reason why they couldn't access it fully.
So we don't know what was on that computer, essentially what you're telling me.
With other investigative techniques, we determined that that computer was seldomly used. So
That wasn't what I asked. What I asked was, we don't know what was on that computer.
we don't.
So that's a question mark. Fair enough?
Yes.
Okay. Now, did you recover Mr. Smith's keys?
No.
Did you look for his keys?
No.
You weren't interested in any keys or anything that might be on his keychain?
His personal keys?
Yes, sir.
No.
How about his office keys? Was that all done on the swipe card?
I believe he had a cubicle and an office space, but it was open. The door was open. I don't know if
he didn't need a key to get into his workplace.
to access the front doors of the
Yes,
building.
sir. Is that all done by swipe cards?
His access badge, but he had that on his person.
That's that badge that Ms. Jensen showed you?
Correct. And when you talked about that list, and I went back to the sheriff's department,
Yes, sir.
I contacted Investigator Infinger while he was at the ME's office, and he confirmed that he still had that RSA token and his access badge on him.
Okay. And the cellular telephone, I think you said he had a BlackBerry that was a government issued BlackBerry.
Correct.
Is that correct?
Correct.
And then he had the iPhone.
His personal iPhone.
Were there any other phones?
Off the top of my head, I think there was an old phone that we recovered also, but I don't think it was being used.
And was the what was the area code on those two devices? Do you know?
I don't know.
Thank you. I don't have anything further.
Oh, that was exciting.
You all weren't able to get into. You started to say something about its use, and then Mr. Griffith stopped your answer. So what's your answer? Something about it. You said you couldn't get into it, but you were able to determine its usage or something?
Yeah, we talked to Mr. McCord about if he would utilize that computer and how often did he utilize it. And it was given to him for essentially a convenience if he needed to get on it. But talking to his coworkers and his supervisor, he just come into the office and utilize the computers there.
Okay. Thank you. Those are all my questions.
Oh my God, the riveting testimony.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Will you state your full name, please?
My name is George Jacoby.
Will you spell your
Is it a different guy, or did he just change his suit and tie? We don't know that. I think we need to show the feds' faces. I think we need to show the feds.
last name for us?
JACOBI.
Badges.
And where are you employed?
I'm employed with the Department of
We
Homeland
don't need no
Security's Federal
stinking
Protective
badges.
Service.
Oh, I
And
could not have
do you
set
have
that up
the
any
same
better
duty
for you.
As Kevin Palomino.
Yeah.
I do.
And how long have you been with FPS?
With the
Say it
Federal
again.
Protective Service about 15 years now.
I think we need to see their badges.
We are federales, you know, the mountain police.
If you're the police, where are your badges?
Badges? We ain't got no badges. We don't need no badges. I don't have to show you any stinking badges.
And do you have prior law enforcement experience?
I do,
Thank
probably
you.
a total of 27 years, 24 of which have been with the federal government.
So back in July of 2015, what region or district were you assigned?
So I'm in Region 4, and I'm assigned to the state of Florida. So my area of responsibility is the whole state of Florida.
And as an FPS agent, I mean, can you really be sent anywhere in the United States?
Absolutely, and have. You know.
Now, or back then, did you typically work on assignments by yourself or with another agent?
It varied, but generally speaking, we're always with someone else, and sometimes we pair up with the locals. You know, if possible, we'd like to have another agent with us, and most of the times we're with another agent.
Kevin Palomino testified.
Suddenly, I
he
wish I had a
came
Jabba the
from
Hutt
Texas
noise.
To
I don't know
work
why.
On Richard Smith's investigation.
Correct.
Was that common or uncommon for someone to come from another state?
It's common. It happens. You know, as far as our investigative side, we don't have a whole lot of numbers, so sometimes we're a little short. And when we're short, we pull from other areas, which is what, in this case, you know.
We had that last time. We had that a
Now,
couple
in
weeks
July
ago.
of
Chris.
2015, specifically, were you assigned to investigate the death of Richard Smith?
I was.
And did you work kind of hand in hand with Kevin Palomino?
I did.
And as part of your duties, did you take custody of a number of electronics from the sheriff's office?
I did.
Do you remember how many items it was?
There was 24 items.
And was some of it personal property and some of it government property?
24
Correct, a
hours
mixture
from
of both.
yesterday.
Okay. And why did you take personal property of Richard Smith?
Because it
we were
looked
gonna
delicious.
conduct a forensic analysis, so you might as well take it all together and have it done. It's just to expedite it, make things easier, and we're looking for the same same things.
Make it easier for you,
And,
Fed.
Agent Palomino testified that the items were examined by Secret Service in Jacksonville,
Not yet.
DHS in DC.
That is correct.
Okay. Now,
There you go.
Was there anything
Well,
of the
for him.
24 items that you could not access?
There was a total of 3 items. So 2 Apple products, I believe it was an iPad and then an iPhone and a laptop computer.
Okay. And is it common or uncommon to not be able to access Apple?
Do we need 2
It
witnesses to
happens.
say
You
he
know,
bricked his
unfortunately,
phone?
Apple's, got a pretty good encryption. So it's not something that we have the ability to really hack into.
Well, now they just
And
roll
then
over.
Agent Palomino already talked about the computer. Was anything, were the examinations able to determine if anything was hacked or compromised or anything of that nature?
There was nothing that was, compromised. None of the systems were compromised. We did not discover anything that would lead us, in the
Beat
direction
on the dog.
of
Beat
something
on the dog.
nefarious
Beat
because
on the
of this,
dog with a
position.
baseball bat.
And that was my next question. Based on your investigation, did you find any reason to believe that Richard Smith's job at DHS caused his death?
There was none. There was nothing that we found throughout the investigation that would lead us to believe
His job
that
at
he was killed because of his
IT
position
for
or,
Homeland Security would lead to his entire family being
Let me ask you this.
murdered.
If you had determined that Richard Smith's employment was the reason for his death, what would have been the next step procedurally?
This would not be in state court. This would be a federal case. So at that point, if we had any clue that there was a nexus or likelihood that this was a federal crime, this would be a federal case, and we would treat it accordingly.
He's a Homeland Department of Homeland
Thank you. Those are all my
Security
questions.
agent. So, all right. Well, that's getting us through our first little batch of witnesses here. I'm sorry, ma'am. Han Solo is not in court.
You recall when we spoke earlier a while ago? I took your deposition quite a while ago.
Yeah, it's been a while. Yes, I do.
Okay. Back then, we talked about basically the same things Ms. Jensen's talked to you about today, correct?
Correct.
And one of the reasons you came up here from South Florida was to determine if you could find any of the government information, that is the computers that had been compromised. Is that correct?
That's a part of it. That's not the purpose. We're there to, recover government property and to conduct the investigation.
Well, tell me, other than taking the electronic devices and sending them to 3 different federal locations, what else did you do investigatively?
I believe there was 2 locations that we sent it to.
The previous witness said there were 3. There was
okay, he's not guilty then.
In headquarters,
Yeah.
and then
If there's 3 and he
so-
lied, then it's clearly
we contacted, I think, HSI or ICE to see
Right.
if they could do something. I don't believe that it was actually sent over to them.
Okay. Now, what did you do investigatively other than confiscate or take or be given the electronic devices and send those to the 2 federal agencies?
nothing.
So our role was really to assist Escambia County at that point with whatever they needed.
Okay. But what I'm asking you is what specifically did you do other than get the electronic devices and send them?
We did some stuff. We walked through the crime scene as well. We,
Let me stop you there. When you walked through the crime scene, did you take anything into evidence?
We did not. That was all done by Escambia County. Like I said, we're there to assist them. They are the lead in this particular case.
I'm not disagreeing with you. I'm just trying to find out what else you did.
Okay.
When you said you did investigative work, did you interview any witnesses?
Like I was getting testy
we
about
did
something
not.
completely useless and irrelevant.
Did you conduct any searches other than walking through the crime scene? And I believe that the 2 of you went over to Mr. Hartung's residence.
Correct. We participated in the execution of the search warrant.
Did you search anything individually, or were you just there?
We're there part of the search team, if you will.
You say his mom's under
Yeah, so listen, if we went into the house, we obviously looked, around. So if we did see something, but did I recover anything? Did I process anything? No, I did not.
Did you tell any of the Escambia County Sheriff's deputies that were conducting the search, hey, you need to get that piece of evidence or you missed that, anything like that?
No.
Okay. Is there anything else you did?
Not that I can think of right off the top of my head.
Thank you, sir. I don't have any further questions.
Did you interview coworkers of Richard's?
So we did that. We did speak with some of the other coworkers. This is more something I think Kevin, did. My partner at the time went and grabbed some video footage of the facility, show security cameras, things like that. So those are some of the other investigative things that we did. But and you're right, we did talk to some coworkers.
Thank you.
All right, thank you, sir. You can step down.
Will do.
All right, let's take out your next witness.
Brandon Garrett.
Okay, well, that's the end of that. Oh, hey. Oh, this automatically goes on to the next one, but I've already got the next one automatically locked and loaded because, I prepare stuff. All right, while we're doing this, it's time to read the 11-month. We already read that. You don't get it for 2 weeks. All right, there's nothing to read. No super chats or anything all day. All right, let's continue. Not that I care. Where are we at? Okay, this is Brandon Garrison, a co-worker of the Smith. So I guess we get another Gunt cam. Let's see. Present screen. Oh no, that was stop screen. That was exactly the opposite of what I wanted to do. There we go. Boop. All right, here we go. As soon as
Brandon Garrison.
Will you spell your last name for us?
Garrison.
Nope.
And Mr.
Certainly does not look like someone who would work at Walmart at all. What is with that? What is with like that is a literal neck beard. It's like a beard just for his neck. It's not a neck. It's not a beard on a neck. It's a specifically a beard for his neck. That is weird. There's like 4-inch
why
gap.
I must shave. Like, this is why I got to shave the right area, because otherwise it's just like, for me, it just becomes one whole thing of hair going down to the chest hair. This guy has no chest hair. That's disturbing.
Well, now that we know you shave your area, not sure how to proceed from that.
But no, look, half
there's
the
like
people
a
in chat
gap.
from my chat, they know damn well that I shave under the thing towards the anyway.
He shaves under his thing and his area. You heard it here first. Okay. But there's like a gap between his chin and whatever this is around his hair, his fur collar. He's got a fur collar. All right. And who wears a polo shirt with another green shirt underneath it? This is all kinds of Florida man right here. Anyway.
And if you look, his fringe is perfectly in line as well. Someone has cut it like that.
See, I can't criticize him for his beard growing to the right because mine does that. Mine grows to the right as well, so it has like this weird swishy pattern. So I always have to keep it like one side longer than the other. But yeah, you're right. Like his fringe bang, someone's like, "Hey, that's a nice little wave you got there. Let's just cut it straight across." Like just someone's going right across the straight there. Anyway, enough of the fashion critique for the island of the $2 is not brook. I'll not brook that use of chomping. It hurts. Hey, chomping of the bit depends. Anywho, let's get on with what's his face's testimony.
Garrison, where were you employed in July of
Let's get on Mr. Garrison's testimony.
2015?
Walmart on Mobile
It
Highway.
doesn't have mange.
And what did you do for Walmart?
I was the asset protection associate.
Asset protection. What was it? Associate,
yeah.
That means the guy that just like walks around and looks for shoplifters.
Yep, that's exactly what it means.
We can't call people what their jobs are anymore. I when I was a bagger, I was what was I can't remember what my official term was when I was a bagger at the grocery store. It was like customer service something or other. It's like, nah, I'm a bagger and a cart collector.
The good old days when you used to call the girls behind the cashiers the checkout chicks. You can't do that anymore.
Oh no. But you can still check out the chicks.
Hey, it's where I'm at, the missus.
Yep. Just perving on people in the grocery store. Oh, there you go. All right, let's get back to this.
And how long did you work for Walmart?
5 years.
Did you know an employee named John William Smith?
Looks like you worked at Walmart too.
And what did John do? Well, was John an employee at Walmart?
Who?
And
what? No, I didn't know him. Oh, I'm in the wrong
was a
trial.
carpenter.
Sorry.
Do you know of, did you interact with John?
Every once in a while, yes, ma'am.
Okay. And do you know of any physical or mental limitations he may
Oh
have?
no.
I knew he had some mental disabilities.
Sorry, John.
And just describe him for us.
He was always outgoing, always smiling, always showing up to work. But I knew his mental state wasn't always up to par.
We called him
like
Corky.
everybody else.
Did he seem to have maybe social issues?
Yes, ma'am.
Was he friendly, polite?
Yes, ma'am. He was always friendly, always had a smile.
Did he
Shut up,
mostly
Wesley.
keep to himself?
Most of the
kinda
time,
look like
unless
Will Wheaton.
we talked to him or another employee talked to him.
Okay. What did he like talking about?
Usually just, how busy the store was, or especially during football season, Alabama football. That was his favorite.
Used to walk down the pet
Do you know
aisle,
how
grabbing the
long John
rabbit.
worked
and,
for,
I'll pet him and hug
Walmart?
him and love him.
I
and
know
squeeze
it was
him
at
and
least
call him
20 some
George.
years because of his gold badge that he had.
Because of his what?
His gold badge.
What's a gold badge?
With Walmart, they had different stages of badges that you get for how long you've been with the company. And with the gold was 20 plus years.
We are federales, you know, the mountain police.
If you're the police, where are your badges?
Badges? We ain't got no badges. We don't need no badges. I don't have to show you any stinking badges.
And do you know if John was at the Mobile Highway store since it opened?
I believe so, yes, ma'am.
Did John have any problems with other employees at work that you know of?
No, ma'am.
Any problems with any customers?
No, ma'am.
And in your position at the time, would you have been made aware of any issues he may have had?
Yes, ma'am.
Do you know how John got to and from work every day or whenever he worked?
I knew he always got a ride from somebody.
And do you know the shift that John normally worked,
Yes, ma'am. It was usually in the morning shifts,
which is
usually 7 to 4,
7?
7 a.m. to
Eight.
4 p.m.
Okay, thank you. Does the Walmart on Mobile Highway have video cameras?
Yes, ma'am.
And did law enforcement request some video surveillance of the last day that John worked?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. And did you provide the video to law enforcement?
Yes, ma'am.
No objection, Your Honor.
Judge, at this time, I move states 362 into evidence
So admitted.
and permission to publish.
May.
Can you read the date at the very top
July 27th, 2015,
and the day of the week?
Monday.
And does this appear to be John at the register in the lower right-hand corner?
No, it appears to be a black woman. Why? Why has John got a gun? Why is he taking her money? What's going on here? Or is John a black woman? I'm confused. What the fuck is happening?
Is that him stopped kind of to the right side?
Yes, ma'am. Right here to the right. The plaid shirt.
I gotta say, I was very disappointed. People kept telling me that Walmart would be crazy. It wasn't all that different to a Kmart here.
Oh, no, they're the same thing. Yeah. They're basically Kmart. There's just fewer Kmarts around these days.
Apparently, I have to go to a Waffle House.
Only after midnight. But then not only is it crazy, it's a health hazard. It's a risk.
What if I just stand outside?
That's where all the trouble happens too.
Ah.
We'll go to nice places in Vegas. Sorry, KY. We have Kmarts and Walmarts in Utah. And basically the same people go to both.
JKD Buck, I went like both during the day and at night, but not like late night. Like I think the latest I was there was like 9 p.m.
Wow, this is riveting.
Do you recognize the car that he's putting groceries in by any chance?
No, no.
Okay, so you would never see.
I'm gonna drop them off or
okay.
pick them up.
Got you.
That's a good idea. I don't know. I think this one's a fake.
The accent's not quite right.
Yeah.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Will you state your name, please?
Diva Holland.
And Miss Holland, where are you
Oh my
employed?
God.
Gastroenterology Associates.
Just gonna let
The
it play.
mother from the Munsters has really let us off go.
Well, she's done her hair up at least. She put her hair up. What do you want?
Where's that located?
Our office is at Sacred Heart Hospital in the DePaul building.
And what is your office number?
Phone number 850-477-2597.
What do you do for Gastroenterology Associates?
Office manager.
How long have you worked there?
25 years in April.
Back in 2015.
Her name is she's a Gastroenterology Associates Office Manager, Diva Holland. Welcome, Diva.
Did your office keep up with patient appointments, missed appointments, rescheduling, things of that nature?
Yes, ma'am.
And if a patient had a scheduled appointment, did they get a reminder?
Yes, ma'am.
And how did that work?
The system we use called the patient 3 days prior to their appointment and reminded the patient they had an upcoming appointment. And then you have to either, respond, you're coming, you're not coming, nothing, or
Don't come.
Okay.
Don't you
And
come.
if someone didn't show for their appointment, was
Don't
there any
you
sort
come.
of follow-up by your office?
Yes, the day after the appointment, we would call the patient to reschedule the appointment.
Damn it! I have to pause this here for a
Now,
quick second
back in July,
because I doofed it. All right, we have to do this here. Choop. Copy and paste. There we go. Now we can go back to our regularly scheduled program.
2015, did your office?
So much for that.
Well, what the shit was that? What? All right.
Apparently, she killed the video. The video's gone bad.
Yeah. Video killed the radio star. All right.
ARRI.
No, not
Did
you.
he? Where's that located?
Our office is at Sacred Heart Hospital in the DePaul building.
And what is your office
About
number?
5 days, Emma.
Phone number 850-477-2597.
I'm gonna come.
What do you do for Gastroenterology Associates?
Office manager.
How long have you worked there?
25 years in April.
Back in 2015, did your office keep up with patient appointments, missed appointments, rescheduling, things of that nature?
Yes, ma'am.
And if a patient had a scheduled appointment, did they get a reminder?
Yes, ma'am.
And how did that work?
The system we use called the patient 3 days prior to their appointment and reminded the patient they had an upcoming appointment. And then you have to either, respond, you're coming, you're not coming, nothing.
I'm not coming.
Okay.
Not
And
yet.
if someone didn't show for their appointment, was there any sort of
I'm gonna
follow-up by
come.
your office?
Yes, the day after the appointment,
This is the kind of
we
thing that
would
just
call the patient to
tickles
reschedule
my
the
balls.
appointment.
Now, back in July of 2015, did your office have a patient named John William Smith?
Yes, ma'am.
And was that date of birth 11/10/1967?
Yes, ma'am.
Gosh, 2 years older than
Did
me.
John William Smith have an appointment scheduled with Gastroenterology Associates in July of 2015?
Yes, ma'am.
What was the date and time of his appointment?
July the 29th, 2015 at
Day we landed
10:20
on the moon.
a.m.
And by we, I mean Merca.
And did your office do one of those reminders you talked about for Mr. Smith?
It was fake.
Yes, ma'am. The reminders went out the 26th of July, and they're usually in the evening starting about 6 o'clock.
And do you know if that reminder was, responded to, or I don't know the terminology, but
Yes, ma'am. When I come back in, they do the reminders the night prior. When I come in the next day, I print a list and it tells me if the patient confirmed, denied, canceled. And on that particular appointment, the message was accepted. And for it to get, for that to be listed on the list, somebody had to actually pick up the phone and confirm the appointment.
did John Smith show for his appointment on July 29th, 2015 at 10:20 a.m.?
No, ma'am.
Did anyone call to explain why he didn't show up?
No, ma'am.
Did your office try to reschedule John Smith's appointment?
Yes, ma'am.
And when was that?
The following day, which would have been the 30th. We do those first thing in the morning.
Was the appointment ever rescheduled?
No, ma'am.
Was John William Smith a new
He
patient?
was dead, man.
No, ma'am.
How long had he
Yep.
been a patient with your office?
The first time he was seen was in 2003.
And do you remember what his listed address was?
I just know it was on Deerfield. I don't know the actual home address.
That's okay. Thank you, ma'am. Those are all my questions.
All right, thank you, ma'am. Just stepped in.
Wow. Oh, wait. Too late. All right. Well, that's the end of that, I
Right,
guess.
members of the jury, because the next witness would have taken over 2.5 hours, including a long video, we're not going to take that witness this afternoon. So you get off early this evening. So we'll start with that witness tomorrow morning at 9 o'clock.
You
So
can't say
again,
get
if
off
you
early
have
right after she talks about
do
coming or not
listen,
coming.
View, research, or any other way to get information regarding this case. And did Ms. Beal get the letter she needed to get? Do you have that?
All right, we don't need to listen to him. Now this is going to take probably the next two weeks because this is going to take over 2.5 hours. So we'll start it today and finish up this particular deal. She looks so nice and happy. Okay, this happened again. I just got while I was loading it, I got another "you can't watch this video" thing here. It's not liking me. All right, let's bring this on up. Oh yeah, here we have Frankenstein here.
Frankenstein's bride.
For our last witness. Okay.
Yes.
All right. Sorry, I just saw it. Don't know how long it's been there. I just saw it. So, all right. Well, present screen. Ladies and gentlemen, this is the moment we've all been waiting for. Lead investigator Matt Infinger takes the stand.
Yay!
Matt Infinger, everyone. Yep, there we are, Matt Infinger.
This is the kind of thing that just tickles my balls.
Let's see here. Right, let's go.
Good morning.
Will you state your full name, please?
Matt Infinger,
And where are you employed?
the Florida Department of Law Enforcement.
The jokes just write themselves. If you could like ask AI to draw the picture of what an infinger looks like, this is what would come out.
Let's find out.
It's like if you turned him upside down, he would look exactly the same.
Holy shit.
And dude, square up that tie. The shirt's too big. The tie is all ski-wumpus and everything else. All right. Oh, gee, I wonder what Hayden's typing.
What are your duties with FDLE?
I'm in the organized crime squad, and I also investigate officer-involved shootings.
How long have you been with FDLE?
A little over 4 years.
Where were you before FDLE?
The Escambia County Sheriff's Office.
And what did you do for the sheriff's office?
I was a robbery homicide investigator.
Now, mind you, this is the lead investigator. This is the guy who's got all the answers. He's the one that's going to connect all the dots and convince us that this guy did it.
How long have you been in law enforcement total?
It's my 14th year.
So let me take you back to July of 2015. Were you assigned to investigate a triple homicide on Deerfield Drive?
Yes.
And how did you get that particular assignment? How does that work?
I was up next, and I was also on call.
I loved Weebles.
What do you mean up next?
We have a rotation. There was 6 homicide investigators at the time I was there, and it was a rotation. And I was also on call for homicides that week.
Okay. Did you actually go to the scene on July 31st, 2015?
Yes.
While you were out there, did you walk around the outside of the house?
I did.
And did you see any signs of forced entry?
No.
There was a shed in the backyard. Was that shed searched?
It was by me.
Okay. And what did you see inside, if anything?
There was a lot of lawn equipment, tools, yard tools, some lumber, stuff like that.
What was on the back side of the property?
There was a fence that encompassed the whole backyard, and there was woods behind the house.
What kind of fence?
Chain link.
And did anyone walk back in that wooded area?
Yes.
Who?
Sergeant Barnes, investigator Jimmy Tatum, and Heath Jackson.
What was
Anything
Barnes
back
doing
there
I think he's too
significant?
busy for this kind of shit.
No, they said they didn't find anything.
Now, at some point, when you first got to the scene on the 31st, did you go inside the house?
I did briefly,
Okay. And what was your point of going in there briefly?
just to kind of get a feel for what the situation was there and to see where the bodies were located in the house.
And after you did kind of a brief, I guess, overview, did you come back at a later time and look around more in depth?
I did.
Was that still on the 31st?
Yes, it was after I interviewed Donald Hartung.
Okay. Now, when you went through the Deerfield Drive home, did you see any drawers, cabinets, cupboards, anything that looked like it had been rummaged through?
No, it didn't look like there had been a robbery or a burglary or anything like that inside the home.
Now, while you were on Deerfield Drive on July 31st, did you make contact with Donald Hartung?
Yes.
Where was he when you first contacted him?
He was seated in a Escambia County patrol vehicle in that air condition.
And did you make contact with him
I did.
while he was in the back of the car?
Yes, I
Okay.
did.
Did you touch him?
And when you first made contact with
Ew.
Mr. Hartung, what was your initial conversation with him?
I just asked him if he was aware of what was going on. He said,
Hayden has apparently Googled or AI. What was your AI creation term?
Draw a cartoon image of an individual named Infinger.
You didn't use investigator or anything like that?
No, I wanted to see what it would come up with for someone that just had the name.
Wow, but he's got like a little magnifying glass.
This was him as a kid.
But that's interesting. It would put a magnifying glass on something you didn't. That wasn't in. That's why I asked if you'd put investigator or something on there to get the magnifying glass. Huh. All right. Well, I think he's got his own name on his sweater. That's pretty cool. All right. Let's get back to our regularly scheduled program.
But yeah, they told me they were deceased, and that was about it.
Okay. Did he ask who, what, where, why?
When?
No. I told him I didn't know who was deceased in there, and I asked him if he would come down and talk to me, and he would.
And what was his demeanor when you first contacted him?
Just nonchalant, just didn't seem too worried about what was going on.
Did Mr. Hartung agree to speak with you?
He did.
And did you talk to him at the scene there, or where did you go?
No, we went to the sheriff's office, to the interview room there.
Okay, now there was some conversation or some testimony earlier that there was a dog that had been given to him from inside the home.
Yes, Von Seal Smith's dog. He took the dog to his house
Okay.
in his vehicle, and then a deputy followed
And
him
he
there.
sacrificed it to bail.
The sheriff's office.
Okay. And then after you talked to him, was he taken back to his home?
Yes, he was.
Excuse me. Now, was your interview with Mr. Hartung on July 31st, 2015 recorded?
Yes,
Audio and visual?
yes,
And before you asked him any questions, did you read him his Miranda rights?
I did.
How?
Off a form that we have. It's a rights waiver form.
And did Mr. Hartung indicate he understood his rights?
He did, and he also signed the form.
Oh, Hartung, you're an idiot.
And is all of that on video?
Yes,
Have you reviewed that interview before your testimony today?
I have.
Never talk to the cops, especially if you've killed people, allegedly. Well, whatever the outcome is, I don't think we need to say allegedly. Well, unless he didn't do it, then in that case, it's still allegedly.
Dude, I just covered a news article about a guy that went in for an interview to become a cop
363 into evidence, which
and
is
admitted
Mr.
to a
Hartung's
crime while he was in the
July
interview.
31st, 2015.
Oh, good.
So admitted.
And may I publish?
Yes, first, member of the jury, the video is gonna be-
Well, when I was applying to for admission to the Utah bar, I
During the video.
I think I confessed to every traffic ticket I'd ever gotten.
You're about to.
Oh,
view
same.
a
No, this
video
guy
audio
sat down, was
recording.
strapped to a lie detector
Court
test,
instructs you that
and admitted
recording
to
has been edited to eliminate irrelevant portions
offenses.
that would not add to your understanding of the case.
like bad.
Here we
offenses.
go.
Been edited should
This
not-
is the
should not
this
be
is the
subject
lead
to
investigator's
anyone
interrogation
and
of
must not impact
Mr.
the way
Hartung.
you consider this evidence.
Judge, and may Mr. Infinger just kind of wheel his chair down, maybe by the court reporter, so he's not turned back for an hour and a half?
Yes, are you gonna be,
Not questioned during the interview.
okay, you can sit where you want to. Okay, yes, you can slide down, whatever.
That's his crypt. It's covered with sand and dirt from his home country, where he goes at night to sleep. This is the old let him sit there and stew portion of the interview. Uh-oh, Kitty's getting all hot and bothered with the short shorts. Yeah. Now they've got his fingerprints all over the fucking coffee cup there. Yeah, we'll just put that over here.
Yes, sir.
Start by getting your name and information. What's your first name?
Donald.
Oh no, we can't listen to this.
What's your last name, Donald?
Wayne, W-A-Y-N-E. Hartung, H-A-R-T-U-N-G.
H-A-R-T-U-N-G.
There's not even any subtitles.
Senior.
And then, what is your brother's name?
The younger brother is John.
How old is he?
All right, people, can any of you hear anything that these people are saying at all? Put a 1 in the chat for I can hear them loud and clear, and 2 for what the fuck was that? So do a 1 for yes, we can hear them perfectly fine, and 2, I just hear people going.
It's not great audio, but I can make it out.
Yeah, can you listen to this for 2.5 more hours?
Oh shit! Is that what they're doing for 2 hours? Yeah, no.
Yeah, all right. We'll skip here. We're gonna be skipping a big old chunk. Let's see if it gets any better.
Did you work evenings Wednesday?
Yes, sir.
Did you talk to anybody in your family Wednesday?
No, I didn't.
Why not?
Well, I don't usually talk to them.
Oh,
okay. I just didn't. I might call Mom every once in a while.
All right, we're gonna see if it gets better with a different interview.
Baby. You got it.
Yeah, this is bad. This is 2015 interrogation room audio. Exactly. Well, I wonder what he said during all of that that hour and 43 minutes of testimony.
I'm sure it was just riveting too.
You said in the interview that the victims were shot. Where did you get that information?
One of the investigators called and said that they thought they might have been shot.
And then, excuse me, you asked Mr. Hartung about taking a polygraph. Why did that not happen?
The polygraph examiners that we have at the sheriff's office, none of them were there that day, so we couldn't find anybody to do it. And it's not admissible in court anyway.
Now, there were times when you left the room and then came back. Those times in between, were those cut out of the interview?
Just for purposes here today to move it along.
Right. Okay. And was Mr. Hartung taken home after that interview?
Yes.
Did you interview him again?
I did.
When was that?
Later that night into the next morning around 1:30, I believe.
AM?
Yes.
Why that early in the morning?
We had, after going through the crime scene and seeing that there was no forced entry, no robbery, anything like that. Just wanted to get a better timeline and talk to him again about the situation.
Okay. And where was the second interview?
It was at the sheriff's office again, same place.
And was that interview recorded as well?
It was.
I don't know what the court wants to do as far as time.
I would suggest to proceed with it, and when the jury's lunch gets here, we stop.
Okay.
Deputies just let me know. Or we anticipate around noon.
Ozzy.
We anticipate around noon.
Was that
I wish
second
I was joking.
interview with Mr. Hartung recorded?
It was.
Have you had a chance to review it for your testimony today?
Yes.
We have no objection to the video of the next interview. Your Honor.
Judge, at this time I would move states 364 into evidence.
So admitted and they publish.
Thank you.
Let's see how long they kept him stewing here. I didn't see what the timestamp was there first. We're at 1:23 now. Only like 4 minutes.
I know I'm going to some stuff at the house. Now the house and stuff again. Before I do that, I need to read this. Okay.
Yes. Somebody going to say something? And we have 5 Legal Vices memberships gifted by D. Wood. D. Wood in the house with the 5 Legal Vices gifted memberships. If you were lucky enough to get one of those, then I think you should give D. Wood a super, super special thanks. But what was that, Hayden? Jesus. But I have noticed that Silent PS was gifted a Legal Vices membership, as was Aussie Overlord, Uncle Tom, and Tom Nash Music. But D-What was also, D-What gifted himself a Legal Vices membership. I didn't think you could do that, but apparently you can.
Oh, you can. I've had a couple of people do it. Oh, and 10 more.
And Sonny or Chris pulling up with the 10. What's up, Sonny or Chris? That is Chris, Brenda, Twisted Jack, Janet Burris, Salty Dog, Buddha Berries, Freelancer, L, McCrae, and Terry. There you go. J. Katie Buck says we've seen it once before. Okay.
Yeah, we had someone like last week do it in chat.
In my
also,
chat?
I feel the need to justify myself. I was playing the YouTube video of Lurch when he goes, "You rang," so that was actually a door opening. I didn't just like fart live on stream.
Ah.
You rang.
That's what you.
Oh, you already have it. Son of a.
Yes.
Okay.
We've already played it twice today.
I'm not paying attention.
You're clearly. All right. Let's see what we can get out of this. What, if anything, we can get out of this?
All right, Donald. You have the right to remain silent. Anything you say can be used as evidence against you. You have the right to have a lawyer present when being questioned. If you cannot afford to hire a lawyer, the lawyer will be appointed for you without cost before the question. If you wish to answer questions now without the lawyer present, you still have the right to stop answering questions at any time. It says, I have read the statement of my rights shown above, and I understand what my rights are. No promises or threats have been made to me, and no pressure of any kind has been used against me. We did it earlier. I'll read that again if you can. I can put this on there. Let's go over the layout of the house again. I'm getting a little bit more detail this time. Remember this that you drew for me earlier today?
This is just shit. Yeah, we're getting nothing out of this.
And then some of these roofing things,
I've never sacrificed. I wouldn't hurt a chicken. I wouldn't hurt nothing. I would never hurt an animal.
well, what's ironic about all this is
All right. Well, we're going to turn this into a midstream grift while Hayden talks about himself here a little bit while I bring up the next part of this, because that video was 2.5. That saved us 2.5 hours of just absolutely incomprehensible nothingness. All right. So say something.
Oh, well, that's
Hayden.
all right. Well, guys, Aussie Overlord on YouTube and at X and Rumble and all sorts of places. No stream tomorrow night US time, as I have called all day tomorrow. There will, however, be a WTF stream in which we will be talking about the anti-sex beds that have been installed at Olympic Park in Paris. Scorpions are apparently invading Las Vegas, which is going to be fun for us.
Hey, sweet.
And what we know about the Italian petrol pump and the reasoning behind it.
That petrol pump?
That petrol pump.
The reasoning behind it?
Yeah, apparently someone actually went and interviewed him. That's exactly the face he was making.
All right.
So make sure you don't miss that, people.
That's weirdly the one that I don't want to miss, but yet I really, really want to miss at the same time.
Yes, Chris, he was pumping more than just petrol. And frankly, I still believe it was diesel, based on the size of that nozzle.
God dang.
So it bears, you'll have to watch the show to find out. For anyone that missed it, Stingy showed me that, Stingy sent me that at the end of the show. Oh, what? 2 days ago, and I sat there for a full 45 seconds in stunned silence. Everyone thought the stream had frozen.
Yeah, I get that. That's kind of me too. All right, everybody. 133 of you here, 155 likes. That means like at least 23 of you have checked out. But hey, thanks. Thanks for being here. I know we've got Karen Reed stuff going on, but you guys are here. So make sure you hit our like and subscribe poll. Why not? Hit the like button, subscribe to all that stuff. Make sure you're still subscribed. Take our poll. What do you want? More witchcraft, less witchcraft, rituals, or the Karen Reed trial? 56% of you want more witchcraft. That's the leading poll response today.
That's what I get for clicking the poll without reading it.
Exactly. We've brought up the next bit of the trial. There is one more video, but we'll see if that doesn't go. The video ends about halfway through this particular stream.
Start the video back up.
I would hurt nothing. I would never hurt an animal.
well, what's ironic about all this is that's the same way your family was killed.
Did he just say I'd never hurt an animal?
I have no idea what he said.
That was shot in the head, right?
Oh. You have brothers going to see them?
Yeah.
Where's the end?
And 3, 2.
There we go.
Yes,
I'm actually really disappointed in Court TV with this shit.
Well, this was, I mean, they can't help it.
Yeah, but you can't tell me they couldn't pay some intern to sit there and try and at least make it accurate with the captions.
Yeah. No, this one has captions. The last one didn't.
Oh.
Huh. Let's see if the captions help.
Oh, no shit.
Huh. They seem to work.
Damn it. I guess I owe Court TV an apology.
Huh.
put your in finger in, you take your in finger out, you do the hocus pocus, and you shake it all about.
Is there anything else that I can answer for you?
Why'd you kill him?
I would never hurt my mother.
This here is, the city property receiving that. Just letting you know that we seized your money and,
I see your mind. I left your car. All right.
I could never do exactly where it was.
All right. We'll just skip that shit. That was nonsense. Well, now we're over halfway through this trial.
Did you give Mr. Hartung a ride home after that since you seized his car?
Yes, we did.
Okay. Now, during the first and second interviews, you had Mr. Hartung draw diagrams of the house. Do you remember that?
Yes.
Why did you do that?
To get a layout of the house and figure out whose rooms belong to who, where people hung out in the house.
And do you want to
What,
see
like
if you
from the
diagram pentagrams? Yeah.
Yes, Nosferatu.
Judge, Mr. Griffith does not object to the introduction of State's Exhibit 365, which is just the diagram that Mr. Hartung was drawing with investigator Infinger.
So admitted.
Now, at the end of the second interview, you told him that his car was seized, correct?
Correct.
And what kind of car did he drive?
1989 Lincoln Town Car.
And did crime scene take photographs of the car?
They did.
Were you present?
Yes.
And was it processed like
Yeah.
crime scene normally does?
Yes, it was.
Judge, we have no objection to the introduction of that photograph.
So Judge, for the record, it's 366 through 369.
So admitted.
And may I publish?
May.
This is State's 366. Will you just describe for the jurors in the record what this shows?
This is Donald Hartung's 1989 Lincoln Town Car at the sheriff's office.
He calls it the Cryptmobile.
367?
Same
Oh my
thing.
God, does he really?
No.
Oh.
368?
This is the inside of the vehicle.
Oh, it wouldn't surprise me.
369.
And the back seat of the vehicle.
See, they go, how gorgeous that
Anything
car
relevant
was.
found inside the car?
No.
And what was the condition as you saw it?
It was a very clean car.
Were the keys to Richard's white Toyota Highlander ever found?
No.
And there were some photos that the jurors saw earlier where crime scene was actually in the white Toyota Highlander. So how did you guys get in it?
We had to have a locksmith come out and unlock it.
Was Richard's wallet ever found?
No.
Now the jurors have seen a demonstrative aid of
demonic
Deerfield
aid.
Drive, but for the record, can you just describe the neighborhood, the shape, size?
To get into the neighborhood, you
The
turn
shape
off
of
the
the
Klondike
neighborhood?
Road, onto Deerfield Drive. It's a long road that goes in, one way out, and the subdivision is a long rectangle.
Now, you said Klondike. Is that the same street where Mr. Hartung lived?
It is
And do you know how close or how far he lived from his family's home?
a little over 2 miles, maybe around 2 miles.
Was the Deerfield Drive neighborhood searched for video surveillance?
Yes, it was.
And did any of the neighbors have any kind of video equipment?
No, they did not.
Was Klondike Road searched for video equipment?
Yes, it
And
was.
did anyone on Klondike near Mr. Hartung's house have video surveillance?
No one on Klondike Road had any that we could find or locate.
There was testimony earlier that some FPS agents took 24 electronic items and then had them analyzed and forensically examined. Were receipts or records kept for those items?
Those items were logged in our evidence and then checked out, and they had to sign a property receipt for those items when they took them.
Okay.
So there was a chain of custody.
So none of these items were just taken by FPS from the Deerfield Drive home?
No.
Did Mr. Hartung have a cell phone?
Okay, well, while they're inquiring about that, I will just say that I myself did a search for what were the search terms? The search terms were someone called Infinger, and this is these are my 4 results for someone called Infinger. Okay. All right. For what it's worth, that's what my AI coughed up. All right. Speaking of coughing, let's get back to the dead guy. And I don't mean the victims. Where do we get? See here, the screen share. Here we go.
Yes, he did.
And did you seize his cell phone?
We did.
Was any information obtained from it?
No.
Why not?
It was unable to be downloaded due to the operating system of the phone.
Okay, can you
It was
speak
a
up?
track phone.
Can you speak up?
It was a track phone,
Okay, what's a track phone?
pay-as-you-go phone.
Now, the jury also heard from a fingerprint expert that there were only a few things submitted for fingerprints in this case. Why is that?
We had a meeting with our crime scene and FDLE who processes all that stuff, and we felt our best chance of getting evidence was DNA in this case, not fingerprint.
Did you make contact with Mr. Hartung?
You can't get both?
G4S.
I was going to say that sounds like some bullshit.
And did they provide you with any documentation?
Yes, they did. They provided me with his resignation letter.
Oh wait, I think you have 2 zombie noises. Are they the same one? Oh yeah, they have this. I have the same noise twice on my pad. Damn it!
Judge, at this time, the state would move 370 into evidence. Can you read that for the jurors, please, starting with the date?
It's dated August 21st, 2015 to G4S Secure Solutions USA, 7282 Plantation Road, number 203, Pensacola, Florida, 32503, via hand delivery regarding employment of Donald W. Hartung Sr., to whom it may concern. I, Donald W. Hartung, hereby resign from your employment due to the murder of my family and the necessity for me to handle personal matters.
That'd be a hell of a letter. That'd be a hell of a letter to get from an employee. I have to resign my position due to the murder of my family. Holy crap. I got to admit, that took me a little bit off guard. Holy crap. Sorry, boss, I can't make it today. My entire family was murdered. Holy shit. All right. Sorry, I had to reboot after that one.
What are you going to say to him?
Yeah,
No, you have bereavement leave?
Well, you better find someone to cover your shift today, pal. No, I actually had a boss say that to me. It was the very first job I ever. It was the bagger. It was the grocery bagger and cart taker outer guy.
Yeah.
I literally slipped on black ice and drove my father's truck off of about a 40-foot cliff.
Oh shit.
And I had to like climb this, and it was in the middle of winter. I had to climb up this embankment, and it was like freezing to death. Had to flag down a trucker and like make my way back there, and got checked out of the hospital. And I said, I wrecked my truck and I just got out of the hospital. And he's like, well, you better find someone to cover your shift for you because you're on the schedule today.
Classy.
Yeah, so I said, Dad, we need to go there so I can drop off my stupid apron and name tag on the way home. So I quit that day. So there we go.
That's fair.
Yeah, that's my story.
Donald W. Hartung has his signature.
When was Donald Hartung actually arrested for these homicides?
October the 27th of 2015.
Thank you. Those are all my questions.
Okay, let's hear this. Oh, he does have 2 suits. Cool. And 2 shirts and 2 ties at least. He's like, that witness is really delicious. I'm hungry.
Oh, I'm sorry. Agent Infamy. That's correct, isn't it?
Yes, sir.
Okay, I'm going to ask you numerous questions. And if I could get started, when were you first aware of the murder on Deerfield Road?
Friday, July 31st.
At what time?
It was sometime around noon, I would say, maybe between 11 and noon.
And what time did you arrive at the crime scene?
I don't recall the exact time I arrived.
Give me an approximation.
No.
Between noon and 1 o'clock, maybe.
Okay. And your interview with Mr. Hartung started at what time? Your first interview?
I don't think I will.
Time.
Make me, bitch.
Started around 1:30, maybe.
So you had been on the crime scene for maybe an hour before you started interviewing Mr. Hartung. Is that correct?
Possibly, yes.
And you always treat the victims of a crime the way you treated Mr. Hartung?
Oh, God. All right.
That's the way he's going. Okay.
Well, his parents, his mother, and his brothers were killed. So he was a victim of murder.
His family was the victims.
I love this guy's deadpan. It's like, well, his family were the victims. Wow. That was like, look at that look on his face. That was like, I don't think you're seeing this quite the way I see this. Wow. All right. Was my mic seems like is my mic cracking?
Something went buzz. Yeah.
That was weird. Hmm.
You may have a loose wire. And there might also be something wrong with the mic.
It might also what?
I said you have a loose wire, and there might actually also be something wrong with your mic. It was a joke. Move on.
Yeah. Well, no, I'm trying to figure out what's going on here. All right. Whatever. It's getting worse. It's getting worse. All right. I'm moving wires around. Okay. Whatever. All right. Well, maybe it's just a one day thing. I hope it's just a 1 day thing. I'm going to push play. I'm going to hang on here. Hang tight. Ozzy can talk to you. I'm going to reboot my Rodecaster and see if that's better.
Oh, fair enough. I'm trying to think who this guy reminds me of, chat. Like this someone. He's one of these smarmy guys that I just kind of want to like belt in the face, but at the same time, I can't tell if Jeff can hear me yet or not, whether or not I can tell bad dad jokes or not. Does he know yet that he's going to get force-fed edibles, and then at least one night that we're there, I'm going to put his hand in hot water and... I'm kidding. We've got separate rooms. But, it's going to be so much fun to mess with him. I can't wait. Sounds like Ron Swanson. He does sound like Ron Swanson. I'm trying to work out who it is that makes me want to smack him in the face, though. He looks so familiar, and it's the glasses. And it's almost like that professional detective sort of look. Like, I don't know. He's just like, I'm a professional asshole. I just,
All right, I'm back. Hopefully that'll take care of whatever the problem was. I just heard asshole. What? All right. Well, here we go. I just love that. I just love that. Well, no, the family's the victim. He's not really a victim of murder, especially if he kind of did it.
Exactly.
And the jury's got to be going, huh? What? What was that? All right. Let's go with this, I guess.
At least one person on the jury. At least one person on the jury just went, he's right,
Yeah. I just love this. Like, I'm not as dumb as I look, but that's fucked up, dude. Damn.
Well, he's also a victim, isn't he? Don't you consider people that are relatives of people that were murdered victims?
Unless they did it.
Okay.
Say unless he did it.
Do you always treat the victims in that manner?
Not always. It depends on the circumstance.
It depends on whether they did it or not.
Okay. In this circumstance, you had been on the case for about an hour and a half when you decided to accuse Mr. Hartung of murdering his family. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay. What
Oh my God,
evidence at that point did you have that he had done anything other than being the sole surviving member of a murdered family?
He was the last one to see him alive.
Okay, that's actually a very good question. After an hour and a half, they decide to accuse him of murder because he's the last person to see them alive.
Yeah.
That might be jumping the gun a little bit. Wow. All right. Okay. Defense lawyer actually scoring some points there with me. All right.
The home did not appear to be broke into. The way the bodies were, it didn't look like somebody unknown to them killed them.
Well, let's start with that. First of all, you told him they had all been shot because that's what you believed?
I have been informed that possibly they had been shot, yes.
What? He doesn't even know how they were killed, and he's already accused the dude of murdering them? Okay, this case just took a hard left turn.
At this point, he's got no probable cause to think that this guy killed him. So instead, he just acts like a dick to him the whole time, saying, "Oh, you must have killed them because you're the sole survivor and you're the only person that you're the last person to have seen them."
Jiminy Christmas,
fuck you, dude.
Yeah, he doesn't even know how they were killed, and he thinks this dude did it. You go like, "How did I do it, motherfucker? You think they were shot? They weren't shot. They were stabbed. Oops." That's not how I killed them, dumbass. No.
I love those kind of gotcha moments like that. Have you ever seen one in person?
No.
Oh.
The worst gotcha moment I ever saw was when I was doing my third year practice at the public defender's office in Salt Lake, and the guy the cop testified that he did have probable cause to search the vehicle because when he said, "Is there anything else in your vehicle I should know about?" He said, "No, just the weed in the glove box." That's the best I got. Yeah, that's the best I got. Have you had one in person?
No. My personal best gotcha is next to nothing. So,
well, mine was pretty much nothing.
Okay, fine. Mine was less than nothing then.
Wow.
It was basically we had a issue where someone was arguing over whether or not they encroached on someone else's property. And it was this annoying lady with her dogs. And the dogs kept crapping on her on the other person's front lawn. And so the little lady is like, what was it? Oh, and there was something about a fountain that was off to the side of the house that you couldn't see from the road. And so she said something about it. And the other homeowner said, well, how would you know about that? How would you know about the fountain if you'd never been on the property? Well, I saw it when I was throwing the dog shit on the property.
Oh no. That's actually way cooler than mine. Wow.
I was just like, yeah, I think we're done here.
All righty then. Wow, seriously, this case just took a hard left turn suddenly. Went from, okay, maybe it sounds circumstantially, it sounds like he did it. That's where I was up to this point. They've got lots of circumstantial evidence pointing at him, but okay, they think they don't even know these people have been stabbed and bludgeoned. They think they've been shot and they're already accusing a dude of murdering them, but they don't even know how these people died. All right.
So you didn't even know at the point that you decided that he was the suspect that how the people were murdered.
Yeah.
No, I did not.
Jesus.
Let's go on from there. Did he voluntarily go to the sheriff's department with you?
Yes, he did.
Did he at any time ever ask for an attorney?
No.
Did he voluntarily answer all your questions?
Yes.
And that was for both of the interviews, is that correct?
Correct.
And even after you read him his rights, he never asked for an attorney?
No, he didn't.
And on your first interview, he was a suspect, but you didn't read him his rights, is that correct?
No, I read him his rights the
very first interview?
Yes.
So on both interviews, when you interviewed him, he never asked for an attorney?
No.
Okay. When you went to his house, you searched
it,
did you not?
Yes.
Okay. Did he interfere with your search of his residence in any way?
Not that I'm aware of, no.
Okay. So he was fully cooperative with you?
He cooperated with our request, yes.
And did he ever refuse to answer any questions you asked him?
No.
Yeah, gotta lie. It's not sounding like a guilty guy. Or at least someone with a guilty conscience anyway.
At any time, was he free to leave?
Yes.
When you were interviewing him? And he never left?
No.
And he agreed to when you made a request for DNA, he agreed to it, didn't he?
Yes.
Now, you offered to give him a polygraph or a lie detector test.
Yes.
And did he agree to do that?
He did.
And did you ever do that?
No, I did not.
Why not?
There was nobody available to give him a polygraph test.
Okay.
Hang on.
Now,
Didn't
this
you
was
say
at
when?
1:30.
Can you pause for a sec? This dipshit, like 20 minutes ago, when the prosecutor asked him the same question, he said we didn't do it because it's not reliable and not admissible in court. Now he's saying he didn't do it because someone wasn't available.
Dun dun dun.
Like, don't get me wrong, it's irrelevant, but it's the fact that he's backtracking and he's covering and he's changing his story while on the stand.
This is interesting. Let's see where this goes. Now I'm actually interested in this.
30 in the afternoon on a Friday when you interviewed him.
Yes.
And because it was a triple homicide, it was pretty much all hands on deck. Is that correct?
Yes.
And you had all the homicide investigators working.
Yes.
And although you couldn't find anyone to do the polygraph test at 1:30, you certainly could have had someone called in.
They tried to and couldn't reach him, is what I was told.
Okay. Well,
What you were
re-interviewed my client at what time?
It was about 1:30 in the morning.
So are you suggesting that for that 12-hour period of time, nobody could find a polygraph examiner?
Yes.
Mr. Hartung was totally cooperative with you, correct?
Yes.
And after he left you that evening or that early that morning, did you ever attempt to re-interview him with a polygraph examiner?
No.
And you earlier said that polygraphs are not admissible.
I did.
That's only true if either side objects. That could be consented to, that the results of the polygraph could go into evidence.
I guess it could be.
Okay.
Okay.
Acting like a child. They're coming for you.
When you searched Mr. Hartung's residence, one of the, I believe it was one of the crime scene people, said that some suspected blood was found.
Yes.
I think on his shoes and on a carpet and on the floor in his residence.
Yes.
Did any of that, quote, suspected blood ever relate to any of the victims of this crime?
No.
Was there anything in Mr. Hartung's home that related to the victims of the crime?
No.
Did you seize knives from his residence?
Yes.
And they didn't relate to any of the victims?
No.
Now, at 1:30 in the afternoon, when the bodies were discovered, you said that Mr. Hartung was your suspect. Did you ever look at any other suspects?
We looked at other avenues, but no other suspects were ever developed.
What other avenues did you look at?
We tried to get IP address information from the home from Cox, but was unable to get that. No evidence that we found or had processed led us to anyone else.
Well, you said that you determined not to do fingerprint testing.
I didn't say we determined not to. I said
you did
that
limited fingerprint?
Correct.
Did I misspeak?
Yes.
Okay, so you did limited fingerprint. Did you go through the house for fingerprints to see if there were any strange fingerprints there that didn't match up to the victims or to Mr. Hartung?
I know the doors and things like that were fingerprinted, and we didn't find anything like
How
that.
about light switches?
I don't recall that being.
How about thermostats?
I don't recall that either.
How about the kitchen counters or the table surface or any hard surfaces?
It was. I know it was swabbed for DNA.
How about for fingerprints?
I don't believe it was.
How about you've done your goddamn job? I don't believe it was.
There were numerous blank times when you left the room that the video shut off. Or
Yes.
we didn't have the video. You know what I'm talking about?
Yes.
Okay. When you exited the room, did you look into the room to observe Mr. Hartung while he was alone?
Yes, I could see him from where I was talking to other people.
Peeping Tom.
Could you hear him?
Yes.
Okay.
Did he sound like this?
Did you see that he was upset? Hear anything he said that was that he was upset?
No.
All right, I got to be a responsible person. I got to be up in like 6 hours to drive and then get to court. So I'm gonna head off.
All righty.
Enjoy your time here. Send this man your money, and I will catch you all on the flip side. Cheers, peeps.
Bye, Hayden. Thank you for joining us here.
All good.
Have a good sleep.
Will do.
Bye. All right. We'll go here. We'll go here for 15, 20 minutes more, and then we'll call it a night. Okay, this is a disturbing image. I'm going to move on.
Did you hear him say, I don't know what I'm going to do. I've got my way of handling things. I hold it inside. Did you hear him say that?
Yes.
Were you trying to get Mr. Hartung angry during your investigation?
I was trying to get him to show some type of emotion.
It could just be a sociopath.
Why? Do you think that was going to make him confess to you?
Just to see if he would react to anything, because he didn't react to his family being killed. So,
well, you don't know they didn't react. He just didn't externally react.
Yeah, he didn't react the way you want him to react. I've been called a cold, heartless bastard because I like when my brother was killed, I didn't, break down in tears. I didn't freak out. I just have this weird thing about me. It's this weird character situation I have where if something serious happens around me, I just go stone cold. While I try to process what to do about it. I just go into like stone cold logic mode. Like, yeah, okay, if I freak out and start crying and screaming and yelling, how does that help the situation? It doesn't, so don't do it. That's just the way I've always been. So I can see this happening. Because I mean the night my brother was killed was there was a terrible blizzard out, and I was an hour and a half away from my parents' house. And they called me and I went, okay, right. It's dangerous to travel. It's nighttime. I as soon as I wake up in the morning, I'll be there. I'll see you tomorrow. And I went to sleep. Because like, what can I do? What does freaking out? And that's why people like, dude, do you have any emotion at all? The same thing happened when my mother died. It was like, oh. It was actually kind of relief because she was, everybody was crying like, oh my God. My first thought was, oh, thank God, finally she's not in horrible pain anymore. So I process things differently. So I get this. I can see, all right, my entire family's been murdered. What the fuck do you want me to do about it? I can see that. So I don't have a problem with that per se. Like we always say, oh, if he was innocent, he'd be crying, or oh, if he was guilty, he'd be. We don't know how people react to individual situations. Everybody has different reactions to everything. It's what he's saying is he didn't react the way I think he should have reacted. That's totally different than he didn't react properly. When Ozzy Overlord gifted 1 Legal Vices membership. Thank you, Ozzy, by the way. I don't know how I missed both of these a half hour ago. And D. Watt also gifted 5 more Legal Vices memberships. If you got one of those, make sure you give a super special shout out. But yeah, all right. So, all right. Exactly. And I remember, I remember the time when I finally cried for my older brother. It was like 4 or 5 years later. And I was listening to a song that he introduced me to. And then I realized, like, I am now the same age my brother was when he died, and that freaked me out. And that's when I showed the emotion, like 4.5 years later. So yeah, all right. So I'm not liking this guy. This lead investigator, he's not doing his job. He's jumping the gun. He's like, oh, he didn't react properly. I was trying to piss him off so he'd have some emotion. All right, let's see how it goes.
Yeah, he didn't react. He didn't react to me.
He held it in.
Yes.
Yeah. What's wrong with that?
During all of your interview time with Mr. Hartung, did he consistently deny killing his family?
Yes.
What education do you have about the Wicca religion?
No, we've got witchcraft. We've got witch sign. We've got witch sign. And Hayden just left just in time to miss Wicca. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we've got witchcraft sign.
So when you were asking him about the blue moon and you were asking him about cutting up animals and that sort of thing, were you talking about stuff you had heard on just around, or what basis did you have to even ask those questions?
One of the other investigators that went to his house saw the Wicca stuff and Ouija board in his house and looked it up online, and that's where some of those questions came from.
Well, were those, you can look anything up online, right?
Yes,
And some of it's true and some of it's not true. Isn't that correct?
I would agree with that.
Did you bother verifying any of the sources?
No, I didn't think it had anything to do, any bearing on the case
Well,
later on in the investigation.
If you didn't think it had any bearing on the case, why did you ask it?
I didn't know at that time.
But you subsequently determined that that's not what happened.
Correct.
That none of this Wicca has anything to do with the case.
I couldn't prove that it did.
Well, did you ever investigate through any people who are authorities in religion that any of that was even true?
I asked a Wicca person that I came in contact with about it, and they advised me that that wasn't a Wicca practice.
It was not.
What is a Wicca person? I spoke to a Wicca person. It's like a Wikipedia. You talked to Wikipedia? Is that what you did? I talked to Wikipedia. WICCA-pedia. This guy's not very good at his job. I'm just going to say that.
It was not.
When you went, after you left the crime scene initially, the first time you went to the crime scene, did you follow Mr. Hartung home, to his home?
The deputy did, and I did, yes.
Okay. And he went home and he dropped the little dog they called Bear, who was in the house, off, right?
Correct.
And that's the dog that was running through the crime scene.
It was in the crime scene when law enforcement arrived.
So that dog got dropped off at Mr. Hartung's house.
Yes.
And then did you go into his home at that time, or did he just immediately get taken to the sheriff's department?
He was taken to the sheriff's office. I didn't go into his house at that point in time.
And again, that was voluntary.
Yes.
And after that interview, did you have the initial interview, did you have Mr. Hartung driven home?
I did.
And did you go to his home at that point?
No.
That afternoon or late evening, did you go back with a search warrant?
Yes, I did.
And that's when you searched his home?
That's when we seized his car, and I asked him to come back down to the sheriff's office. I did not go into his house at that point.
Okay. So you seized his car, and as you answered to Ms. Jensen, nothing was found in the car?
Correct.
And that's when what time was this that he went back down?
It was about 1:30 in the morning on August the 1st.
So you all woke him up and took him back down there?
Yes, sir.
And that was again voluntary? You didn't have
to the local goth girl at school.
Correct.
It's good. That was funny. I like that one.
Now, you said numerous times that at the time of the murder, John Smith and Von Seal Smith were watching television. How do you know they were watching television?
I can't say for a fact they were watching television, but they were seated in a position to watch television.
Could they have been asleep?
They could have been.
Now, when you arrived at the crime scene, the rear door is how you came in. Is that correct?
Yes.
May I approach the clerk for a moment, Your Honor?
Yes, ma'am.
I'm going, if I might approach the witness with State's Exhibit 18. Is this the door you entered through?
Yes, it looks like it.
And is that the way it was when you entered the residence?
Yes.
Everything just like that?
As far as I can remember.
Does that door look like it's broken? Or did the door look broken?
No.
And are you aware that the first responders had to break into the house?
I was told they used a credit card to open the door.
Okay. So would you agree with me then that
the cops broke and entered?
If they could do it, just about anybody could enter that house through that door using a credit card and not leave any marks?
Yes.
So you wouldn't have to have forced entry to enter that house. Signs of forced entry.
If they checked the door, maybe not.
If they used a credit card to get in.
You wouldn't see that, no.
Now, when Deputy Smith was the first deputy there, as I understand it, he was the first deputy that testified yesterday. I guess it was yesterday or earlier this week. When Deputy Smith testified, he said that he initially kept a log for the first 3 hours he was there of who came in and who came out. Who kept the log after that of who came in and who came out?
After that, it was pretty much documented by crime scene in their reports when they
Have you
arrived.
ever seen a log? Crime scene didn't have a log. I asked.
Well, it's logged in their reports, like they say, I arrived at this date and time, that sort of thing. That's how it was logged in their reports.
So there was no formal log kept. Is that what you're telling me?
It's a formal report.
Was there anyone keeping?
Did he
track
say
of who
formal
went in and who
report or did he say log? Is this a thing that like nobody because the cops in the what was his name? The guy that starts with a G, Gallagher, in the Karen Reed trial, he didn't even know what a crime log, what a crime scene log was. This guy, he's like, I had a report. The crime scene log is exactly what he's explaining here. You have your crime scene. You make a note of who enters, what time they enter, what they did, and what time they left, so that you know who was there, what they were doing at all times. He's like, I wrote a report. Durr.
I don't understand what you're getting at.
Clearly.
Well, for instance, do we know what time the investigators from the coroner's office went in?
No.
Do we know how many went in?
There was 2.
Do we know if they went back?
They were there the initial day, and I believe one of them, I can't remember if one came with Dr. Minyard or not.
Okay. And do we know what time she came in?
Who?
Dr. Minyard.
It was the day after the autopsies were done, I believe.
But we don't know time or anything like that.
No.
When fire rescue arrived, did they go inside initially?
No, it was my understanding that they opened the door and then law enforcement went in.
There's been some question about the thermostat at the house. Do you know if anyone turned the thermostat down or turned it up?
I know it was turned down when we arrived, yes.
Do you know who did that?
I don't.
And do you know what the temperature was at the time they arrived?
I don't recall, no.
And there were more than one thermostats in the house. Do you know which one they turned down?
I believe it was the one somewhere near the kitchen.
What about the other ones?
Couldn't tell you.
So we don't know that.
No.
And did anyone log in what the temperature was of the residents at the time the law enforcement arrived?
I believe it was documented when crime scene arrived and took a picture of it.
Okay. Have you ever seen that picture?
I have, but I don't remember what it was. I couldn't tell you the degree.
See, I like how that's actually a good point. Yeah, no sign of struggle and forced entry, so creepy dude must have done it. See, that's obviously this guy's thinking, but yet he just testified that they used a credit card to get into the house. So it was really not easy. I mean, not difficult to get into the house without any sign of forced entry. They just popped the lock with a credit card.
Yeah. This is defense exhibit number 21.
Yes.
Is that the picture you're talking about?
I don't know if this was the first picture they took or not.
So if that's the only picture I received from crime scene, would it be a fair statement that that is the one they took at the time they arrived?
It could have been taken after they turned it down.
Well, isn't that something that's important?
Yes.
And are you suggesting that we just don't know?
I thought it was warmer than 76, and they turned it down to about 76.
But we don't know, I guess.
Not by that picture, no.
Well,
That must have smelled
by anything.
awful.
I mean, I'm not trying to be rude to you, but you were the lead investigator and you knew you were testifying today, and you've been a law enforcement officer for 16 years?
14.
14 years.
Same thing.
And you know that the temperature in a murder scene is important. So did you check anywhere to see what the temperature might have been or what records there are that are accessible to you or that you brought with you?
I don't remember.
Okay. When you arrived at the scene, were the bodies still in place?
Yes.
Okay. As far as Richard Thomas Smith is concerned, he was in the back room on the floor and John Smith was on the couch. Do you remember that?
Yes.
Was Richard Smith face down or face up?
I couldn't see because there was clothes on top of him.
So he
Did
was
you
covered
move
at
him?
the time you arrived?
Yes.
Subsequent,
All three were.
When you went back, had the bodies been removed at that time?
The clothes were off of them.
And was Richard Smith face down or face up?
I believe at that point he was face up when I arrived.
Do you know who turned him over?
I would have been the medical examiner investigators.
Were they there when you were there the second time?
Yes, they were.
What is gunshot residue?
It's particles from the gunpowder and whatever's in the projectile.
Is it a blowback onto a person who fires a firearm?
Yes.
And gunshot residue will let you know if someone has either fired a firearm or been close to someone who's fired a firearm. Is that correct?
It could, yes.
Well, whenever a firearm is fired, there is gunshot residue, correct?
Yes.
Blowback. Did you take any of Mr. Hartung's clothing into evidence to see if there was any gunshot residue on any of his shirts, sweatshirts, anything like that?
No.
As far as Von Seal Smith was concerned, were there any signs of torture pertaining to her?
Yoink.
It would depend on what you call torture.
If
What?
I might.
What?
Hey,
What kind of answer is that? It depends on what you mean by torture. Oh, sorry. Didn't know I had the chat thing up there. It's probably been there for a
May I
while.
approach
Huh?
the witness?
Thanks for pointing that out. Thanks, Janet.
I took your deposition on June 27th of 2017 and asked you that question.
Yes.
And on page 17 at line 8, would you agree that was the question I asked you?
Yes, I would agree.
And what was your answer?
No.
Kinky.
During the course of crime scenes investigation at the residence, do you know whether or not they changed gloves as they were gathering evidence?
You mean like each piece of evidence?
Yes, sir.
No, I don't.
There was a photograph introduced during the state's case that showed a safe in Richard Smith's room, or a safe that belonged to Richard Smith. Are you familiar with that?
Yes.
And it contained $13,000 plus worth of cash.
Something like that, yes.
Were there other safes in the house?
That was the only one that I was aware of.
You weren't aware of any other safes?
Not at that point in time.
Did you subsequently become aware of other safes?
Yes.
And how many other safes did you become aware of?
One.
And where was that?
It was in the floor of the home.
Wow. Cool
And
old
when did you
traditional
become
floor
aware
safe.
of that?
In May of 2016.
And how were you made aware of that?
Individual, last name Purifoy.
Malfoy? What?
But the sheriff's department never found it.
No, we did not ever find that safe when we were processing the scene.
When crime scene investigated the, I guess, the den where Richard Smith and John Smith were found, their bodies were found, there was a projectile found there. You're familiar with that?
Yes.
And could you tell what caliber of gun that came from?
By the weight of the bullet, it was thought around a 9mm.
Okay. When you searched the home of Donald Hartung, you didn't find any 9mm bullets, did you?
No.
I think you found some 22 cartridges.
That's correct.
But nothing that heavy as that particular cartridge was.
Totally heavy,
shot
man.
Richard Smith.
No.
Now, Homeland Security was here from about the 1st of August through the 13th of August.
That sounds about right.
Okay. And you met with them, is that correct?
I did.
And you provided them with all the electronics that were taken?
I did.
And did they ever provide you with a report on what they discovered on those electronics?
Yes.
How about any report of their investigation?
No.
So you don't know what their investigation uncovered?
They informed me that they did not uncover anything pertaining to Richard's work that involved these murders.
What was the purpose of them being here?
Because an employee of theirs had been murdered.
And when the cars were searched at the crime scene, there were 2 vehicles there. Is that correct?
Yes.
And did you open one of them and then have to get the locksmith to open Richard's?
Yes, we did.
They were searched, correct?
Yes.
And contents were also photographed by either Christine Rollins or Ms. Eliopoulos.
Yes.
Was any money found in either of those cars?
Not that I know of.
Were you ever contacted by a neighbor who told you that there was money in the cars?
It was after the fact.
Did a neighbor contact you and tell you there was money in the cars?
Yes.
And did you discount that because you all searched it and saw that there was no money in the cars?
We no longer had control of that crime scene when this was brought to my attention.
But did the neighbor tell you that the money was in the cars at the time of when you all were over there?
It was my understanding it was after we had left when he saw that.
In which cars did you say the money was in?
It was in the tan SUV. I believe it was a RAV4.
That was one of the ones that you all searched and photographed.
Correct.
And there wasn't any money in it when you all found it or searched it.
Not that I'm aware of.
And you left a deputy at the scene every night, did you not?
Yes, we did.
And did that deputy ever tell you somebody came over and put any money in those vehicles?
No, he didn't.
And who was the neighbor that told you this?
Mr. Chittington?
Now, you asked my client
Infinger,
what kind of
Coxwell, and
cigarettes he smoked,
Shittington.
he said
Great names.
305s, I think.
Yes.
And then he also said sometimes Winston's, and they had tried Cools.
Yes.
Now, were cigarette butts found at the crime scene?
Yes.
And were they found in the outdoor trash can?
Yes.
And were those cigarette butts collected from the outdoor trash can?
Yes.
And were cigarettes butts found on the indoor trash can?
Yes.
And were cigarette butts collected from that trash can?
Yes.
Do you know how many were from the outdoor trash can?
I don't know the exact number.
How about the indoor trash can?
4.
4 from the indoor trash can?
Yes.
Okay. Did you determine whether the cigarettes were 305s or what brand they were?
I don't remember the brand of them.
And no murder weapon was ever found, correct?
No. Besides the hammer that was in the kitchen.
No, there wasn't one found, or?
Well,
what caliber hammer did he shoot him with, you dumbass?
There was a hammer found. There was no gun ever found or knife.
Okay. On the hammer that was found in the kitchen, is that correct?
Yes.
Was it determined to be one of the murder weapons?
Yes.
And how was that matched up?
DNA, and Dr. Minyard observed the hammer and said that it matched some of the blows to the heads of the victims.
Yeah, which bullet holes did
She
it match,
said
genius?
that type of hammer matched the blood.
Correct.
Did that specific hammer have blood on it that would match?
It had the DNA of all the individuals in the home on it.
Everybody's DNA was on it.
Richards, Von Seals, Johns, and Donald's.
Where was Donald Hartung's DNA on it?
I don't know. I just know I was informed by the FDLE lab report that his DNA was on the hammer, that all 4 of them were on the hammer.
Someone just told you that.
And was any blood found on the hammer that tied that hammer into being a murder weapon?
I believe it was John's blood.
What about Von Seal's blood?
I don't remember if it was on the hammer or not.
How about Richard's blood?
I don't remember it being on there.
And do you know when any of the DNA was put on the hammer?
No.
Now, my understanding is, as far as your crime scene technicians were Ms. Rollins, Ms. Epiopoulos, Mr. Masita, and Sergeant Bjornsky. Is that correct?
Bjornson, yes.
Bjornson, excuse me.
Bjornsky. He's like one of the Polish Vikings. All right, Bjornsky. Anyway. Now we'll shut this down here for the day with Bjornsky. I can't think of a better place to end than with the introduction of Bjornsky. Let me get rid of this banner so I can note the timestamp. We are on what is this? Episode 12. 1 hour, 26 minutes, and 44 seconds. All right. Beyonce's half cousin. All right, people. Thank you so much for taking a little bit of time out of the Karen Reed trial or whatever else it is you're doing to spend a couple hours, 2.5 hours here with little old me and Hayden. We're more than halfway through this trial, so we'll have to see how this continues. All right, I got nothing on our way out. Let's see how our poll ended. Of course, 55% of you want more witchcraft, 3% of you want less witchcraft, 19% of you want rituals, and 23% of you want the Karen Reed trial. Well, we got a little more witchcraft today. He found a Wiccan guy. He found a Wicca person, whatever that meant. But tomorrow will be live, the Karen Reed trial. I think it's what are we on, day 13 tomorrow? We'll have I'll try to post my review right before my show goes live tomorrow of today's trial, and then we'll watch tomorrow's live because it's a half day for Thursday. And Friday, still haven't figured out exactly what's happening on Friday yet. There could be any number of things that happen. Processing it. But thank you everybody for being here. Let's make sure I got everything that needs to get done. I did. This is so bogus. Thanks for sharing. Yeah, well, I was kind of convinced that it looks like he did it until the lead investigator took the stand. And now I'm like, yeah, may have been a rush to judgment there, people. Or at least just like, yeah, pretty sure he did it. So we'll have to see how this plays out. All right, everybody, thank you so much for being here. And you could be doing anything, watching something much more entertaining like the Karen Reed trial, but you can always go back and watch that too. Thank you for the support, the gifts, and everything like that. Thanks for everything, I guess. We'll see you tomorrow for the Karen Reed trial. Mods, thank you. Chat, thank you. Everybody, thank you so much. See ya. Let's send you somewhere. We'll send you somewhere. Let me see who comes up very first on my redirect list. Let me go to where we are here, and we'll send you to the Karen Reed trial. The content live. We are live. Customization redirect. The very first person that comes up with the Karen Reed trial is potentially criminal Sean. We will do that. Let's go to potentially criminal. Say hi from me and tell him he's awesome. Right. Got everything locked and loaded here, waiting for it to save. It is saved. Bye, everybody. See you tomorrow. Same bat time, same bat channel.